Beautiful people, today we are ranking the best defenders in all of FC 25, and as per usual, as your host with the most, we have Broken, rank 1, Foot Champs, Debatable, and The Pine. And get in the comments, I'm rating your back line. Give me everybody who's in that starting 11, leading your defense. I've got you covered. And we're starting out with Ake, FC Pro Specialist. Work with me now. Work with me now. I've got 2 pinky rings on. Anything could be happening. Can I get a hashtag organics? Ake is smooth as a customer for the weekend. Foot Champs. Alaba, not necessarily meta. A little bit in between. Do you play him out wide? Do you play him centrally? But he's part of a promo. And as EA gives us new promos, those players typically have a little more extracurricular, at least in my opinion. Alexandro, got the play styles you're looking for. Aerial, anticipate, amongst others. Sort of reminds me of Marquinhos, and I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing, just from my experience on the virtual pitch. Trent Alexander-Arnold, if you got the passing, the precision, you can find a placement for him. Is it in the middies? Is it in the back line? It's just a matter if that's what you need. Some of the stat lines maybe on the defensive end could be a little more debatable, but clear for the weekend. Bastoni, he needs another upgrade. Help us out, EA. This one's going to the Pine. I don't mean that with disrespect. It's just the reality of the situation. And if you have not subscribed, use this as a reminder, a notification. It would be high key appreciated. Don't let me down. Baku, I like him. I'm not upset if we even made a little more of a pusher. He's my type of fullback, but I know we have the big dogs, the big names, and I hope I have not left off any players. You'll let me know. Araujo, I like him. I love him. If I didn't know what was coming up next, if I didn't have this full list in front of me, I could have him in Broken. That's really how I feel. Silva, you don't need her. She's okay. She's not amazing, not next level. Would fit in with plenty of the Bills. Laurent Blanc, we're talking Frenchman, and he needs an upgrade. At the beginning of the year, he was, as you would expect, stand out. Wide shoulders, plenty of build. But presently, if I'm going up against him, I'm cooking. Cafu, he's collecting play styles for fun, has that jockey option, which I personally love. It just shifts the way that you manually defend. It's more about if you're a manual mover, center back, full back, even in the midfield. It's just more responsive across the way, across the board. Baresi, I don't know what he's done to EA. I don't feel there's ever been a Baresi item in any of the iterations, upgrades, promos that has been good. I'm not supporting it. I'm just speaking out about it. Even at a 92, I don't know that he gets out of the Pine. I'm gonna chef up. Help us out, EA. Bacha qualified for the weekend. Still having some issues with positioning for yours truly. I've said this on record many, many times, but the ladies out wide, a lot of question marks, not always getting the proper answers, even more so compared to last year. Carlos Alberto to the top. 2 Brazilians, seems fitting. This Bombito, I am a big fan. It was a cheap SBC. I've evoed him. I think most of you that have completed him probably did something similar. I can't really estimate or guesstimate or talk too much about the evos because then I'd have to discuss every player and different permutations and hypotheticals, but I gotta rank 1. He's that good. Cannavaro, smooth for Foot Champs, undersized. You need him next to a big body. It would have been nice if EA gave him different playstyle plus options. But if he would have had, let's say, Bruiser or Anticipate, I'd feel so much better. Ashley Cole, I did not love the price of the SBC. Still fine for the weekend, not an issue. But you probably have better options that cost you less money. Bremer, talent. I like the dynamic image as well. You won't be mad if you put him into motion, you complete the SBC. Again, not costing you a lot. And that might be the most difficult part of choosing your back line. It's not just the balance of players and how you want to go forward, how you want to track back, but the optionality of upper level, both fullbacks and center backs through the roof. Bode! Broken. Don't love his price tag. This is not about value. It's only about ability. And ability-wise, link up play, anticipate, these are coming together proper. Boy, I've used him too much to not have him in rank 1. Bomb Pastor, I have multiple evoed versions. This 87, I don't think can get out of potentially a Pine scenario. You would have to have had improved her. Carlos Puyol, EA, please help us out. The man played for the badge, hardworking, electric, passionate, long hair, shimmy and shaking and physicality, and we don't have any of it right. Not in game. Sol Campbell and I have a strange relationship, and that's why I'm putting him into Foot Champs. Most of you will have him higher. I have trust issues. We have built up some sort of toxicity within our back and forth, and that's where he's going to go for me. Cuadrado, I enjoy using him. I have a feeling it's going to be more debatable for the majority or for the masses, for the macro, so that's where we're going to end up. But if it was just simply Mike's moves on the virtual pitch, he'd get at least a weekend league checkbox. Jamie, not just a pundit. Put him into FUT Champs. Bronze. Let's edge it up to rank 1. She's one of those rare player types that somehow got long throw plus as a play style, which just throws it back in your face. What a throwaway. Absolutely useless. Carvajal has to be broken, and I might create an additional tier at the end of the video when we do the review, just to have more separation. Davies, the Canadian dream. That man is explosive. The speed, the power, the decisiveness, the way that he takes over and dominates a wing. He's a problem, and that's why he's going broken. Desai will not disappoint. He's done so much this year, I don't think it would be right to not have him at least rank 1. He's not the best passing player or the most mobile or responsive or quick turning. He is route 1, old school defending, and I'm just throwing that out here. Gusto, you could still use for the weekend, but he's definitely not on upward movements. This item used to be a lot more expensive because, of course, trajectory of growth or improvement. That didn't necessarily happen, and here's where we're at. Crystal Dunn, as long as you have a ladies squad, you can get some links, no problem for the weekend. A bit of a utility player, a player in the midfield, a player out wide going forward, player out wide on the defensive side. I've always valued her, and if her name was Conte, I think she'd get a lot more love, and the price tag would be 4 or 5 times where it's currently at. So you're getting a bit of a meal deal, Tesco steal. Fernando Hierro, really enjoyed this item. Upgraded him significantly, maybe a little behind the curve at the moment, so I'm going to toss him into a debatable. Doherty, may Guinness find you sooner than later for the Irishman. DeMarco, I'm going to put a little more respect on his name. He's not going straight to the top. It's been a strange relationship with his performance. This upgrade, massive. Stat lines everywhere. Of course, you get the skills and the weak foot, but I'm putting him rank 1. I'm not giving him that locked in position, and I don't know if I'm being unfair or if we're going to make additional changes as time goes on. Rio Ferdinand, still consistent, good old reliable, trusted, and for that reason, broken is right. Broken seems right. Broken is where I'm going with Rio. Lucas, spent some time at Everton, still good enough for the weekend. Gomez, I like what he offers. It's not just the pace. He has that overpowered aura, and it's been like this. It's not new. He's a go-to player early iteration if you're looking for someone low-rated and cheap player to have a foundational role or the confidence to lead your back line, and now we have a major upgrade. I've had a couple Evos as well with Gomez this year. Florenzi, if you're knocking out objectives, you won't be upset with this. Get him into some sort of lineup, starting 11, probably not coming off the bench. I wish that he was a little bit faster, but there's just that overall mix-up and mash-up, and you could work with it. Give him FUT Champs. Dumfries, I'm talking Dumfries. This is my type of guy, man. The physicality is undeniable. He's everywhere, and it's someone that I can get down with or that I'm supporting. We're giving him rank 1. Eder Militao, put him in the kitchen. The Brazilian with all the pace you could ask for. And I always talk about responsiveness, but again, as someone who manually defends, I have so much belief and hope and optimism around Eder Militao and switching players, making those steps, being able to recover. And for that reason, we're going broken. Georges, I know some of you will scream off the rafters. I just don't like undersized CBs. I know I'm not the only one. It puts me into a bit of a struggle and makes me want to be more debatable regardless of the stats and the overall rating. Dunk is no longer catching alley-oops. That might be a poor basketball reference. I'm still okay with debatable. If he's someone that's going to work for you in some sort of backup scenario. Hummels. Similar with Florenzi, you got to pick one or the other. Give him the weekend. Teo Hernandez, even at an 89, still got it. This year, he's just been built in and came with that bruiser packaging that has made such a big difference. The speed and the presence and how he commands space and, again, takes over one side of the pitch. And even as the games progressed, this guy's kind of stayed true. Erling Haaland. And for many of us, we'd probably argue that this 94 as a CB is more natural feeling than maybe him as a striker. I've always said he's disruptive, and it doesn't matter if he's playing as a defender or an attacker. I still feel the same. Martinez, I've got him in the weekend, but I'm hearing rumblings. I know some of you are co-signing up here. Twitter is going. You can follow if you'd like. Everything's at Mike LaBelle. I'm still more weekend league, and we can take it from there. Frimpong, bit of a downturn. Might need another upgrade. Very responsive, energetic, tiki-taka, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. If you're looking for some sort of outside wing back, he will do that deed. No questions asked. He shows up for the team. Bundesliga boys. I'm still good on the weekend on this. I'm still good. Grimaldo. You got to remember, the team of the years have that triple play style plus. Can't negate it. Got to give credit where credit is due. Gwyn. I don't think you need her. Throwing a debate. Paredes is still in that undersized CB selection issue concern, and also not the best play styles. She does have block, she does have aerial, but I don't know if it really is going to change. You're not going to climb the ladder that much. You're still conceding corner kicks if Paredes is in the 50-50. Let's be honest. Let's have that conversation. Romero is more debatable at this point of the game. Ledley King, I like him a lot. If you want a hero to re-up, the upgrade, significant. You built the house with proper foundation. Ronnie Coleman, more debatable. João Cancelo has kind of lived up to everything. Looks good out wide. Even as the game's aged, the passing, the composure, the precision. Give that man his flowers. Give that man his due. Jurgen, maybe I shouldn't have included him. To the pine we go. Rose Lavelle, stats are fake, unfortunately, on this item. I remember packing her, using her, trying as a starter, trying off the bench. Debatable's where it's going, but she's not holding down the stat room stuffing that it shows on the item. I wish that she was. Philip Lahm, he seems so average every time that I use him. And the same when I go up against him. I don't know if it's body type, I don't know if it's stat related. I don't know if it's not around the rolls or the play styles or the best position, or it's just my stance. Maybe I'm being unfair, but more or less debatable. Klosterman, also known as Kloster Thanos. I've been impressed. He's gone above my expectations. I might have a bias that Klosterman and we do have history and plenty of it. But from Bundesliga or German options, this guy's dialed in. Foot champs, please and thank you. Karchawi, how do we want to sign her up? Is it unfair if I go rank 1? You can make the comparison that her and Grimaldo are very close, not just stat-wise, but she feels so tiny, and it's crushing me on the defensive end. It's not the offensive part of the game plan that I have questions, and for that reason, I'm going rank 1. Mr. Maldini at the 93. We'll still give him broken, but this 92, EA, what are we talking about? One play style and a slide tackle plus is just not cutting it. And you could still play him for the weekend, but I'm not going above that. I'm convinced that EA outside of Pirlo might not be on board with Italians. Koundé, that jockey helps him out. Still good with foot champs this way. Lucio, I'm going to take down a notch. Earlier on, he would have been broken. There's too many players that have hit that next stage, or at least they're starting to create additional separation. Pavard, I like him. And you can play with a center back or a full back. Probably built more to be a natural center back, but he does come with jockey and intercept. Those are two play styles I could co-sign amongst a selective. Bobby Moore, he does have anticipate and jockey. We'll go debatable. I was so impressed with Nesta over EMLS. Couldn't believe it. The man was an athlete. He was everywhere. I've never been really on board with this item, and we've made multiple videos talking about how Nesta's underplayed for yours truly, but I almost feel a need to give him another notch, but I will put him in debatable for now. Milos, another weekend league option for fullbacks in the Prem. Roberto Carlos is more than just free kicks. Serious upgrade, and I like Brazilians even when it comes to defenders. Seems like that's going to be a reoccurring theme. Vincent Kompany has sort of fallen off. Could you get away with using him for the weekend? Probably, but I think for most he's going to be more debatable. Melito, I tried. The stats are fake. They're fugazi. I don't know what happened here. I couldn't believe the positioning just did not line up. Mr. Maguire, no problem for the weekend. McManaman, even as time has gone, he's been out for months. I like him, and maybe even deserves better than foot champs. Like I said, we're going to have a few more categories. We'll work this out. Nuno Mendes, good for the weekend. Bechente, I think he's gotten aged out a little bit. Take him to debatable. Kanate, even with the 91 being multiple seasons past objective-wise, he's here. Rank 1 material. Maicon, that 93 is broken, and you would argue the best, if not clearly one of the best fullbacks in the game. The 90 overall is dragging a little bit, to the point that I think I'm going to have him in foot champs, not even in rank 1. Rolfo, I just like having her on the pitch. Some of you might argue more of a center mid or even a winger. You could play her as a fullback, all preference, but rank 1 is still fitting. Ruben Diaz, and I'm typically not getting off my seat and probably giving him the credit that's due, the accolades, even though on the actual pitch, he's there virtually, doesn't always transition over. I got him in rank 1. Mascherano, can't do it. Can't use him. Ricky to the debate. Mendy's a little bit of a weird one because you probably have an Evo that's similar. You could have completed the 90. I have so much trouble getting him out of broken. He's just the most overpowered player in the history of Ultimate Team. The last 5 years, it didn't matter if he was an 80 overall or any of the promo items. They just keep going and growing and glowing. Mappy Leon. I think we're going debatable. My apologies. Renard with that triple play style is nice. You get long ball, aerial, and anticipate. Not bad. Hot takes incoming with Lucas. Beraldo is another Marquinhos, just 1-to-1. In fact, next item, Marquinhos. If you can't tell, or now you know, I feel like I'm losing too many 50-50s. The ball doesn't bounce to my feet. And the opposite goes for the Real Madrid man, Rudiger. Guy's physical. Bit of a chase down merchant. He's everywhere. Cabarsi, I'm still more weekend league with that selection. I know that some of you might disagree. His price also suggests that he could or should be higher, but I'm staying true. Saliba, let's talk about it. The Thunderstruck, I'll give him rank 1. I'm not even upset if you really wanted to make even a bigger stance, build the statue. Of course, the 95, only one direction. I'm not talking about a boy band. Broken. Singo, I like him. I think you'll be surprised by this item. Tchouaméni is fantastic. I like him a lot as a center mid as well. So holding mid, center mid, box to box, center back. He's getting everything. Yapstam, one of the most physical men to ever live. We'll go ahead and put the Viking into broken. If you completed the 89 and you've had him for a while, you've definitely got your money's worth. I'm going to go rank 1. I just need some degree from a talent perspective. Thuram. You might disagree, but I've kind of thought he was overrated for the price point. He's good, but he's not the best fullback that I've used, or even the best center back, or just best defender. I've never had him in that category. He's new to this year's game, and sometimes you have to pay a premium on the rarity or the newness or the freshness of an item. I'm going rank 1. Staying true with that. Tapsoba, would highly recommend, and as we're recording, that SBC is still available. Complete it, rank 1. Alex Scott, it's cool for the weekend. We don't need a deeper dive in terms of the analysis. Virgil van Dijk, I put the 89 in here. Maybe I shouldn't have. That could be on me. It's now going to be a Pine situation, but his 89 went on for so long, I just wanted to throw him into the video. 89 Stones. I think we all knocked that out. Foot Champs is smooth. Zanetti, debatable. I don't care if it's the 87 or the 89, who I did not include. I think the 87 is better than the 89, hence why we included that version, but debatable, Pine, wherever you want to have it. Back to Virgil van Dijk. I took a break. I took a pause, but that's only because we're going straight to the top. Broken, has to be. Foot Birthday Team of the Year, both in the same category. Not a shock. Jonathan Tah. I like him for the weekend. Not mad at that. Moi, not needed. Kudo. Cool for the weekend. Kyle Walker to the top. This man has aged just so wonderfully. Zé Roberto. I'm a little conflicted because we're not talking about him being a center mid or even a winger. I think he'd be wasted as a fullback. Even with all those stats and whatnot, I'm not prepared to give him broken as a defender. Any other position? Sure. But for now, I'm leaning more rank 1. Last but not least, the youngster, United, Frenchie. We talking trying to get a Varane build out. We'll take him to the weekend league, and not really a surprise. When you're dealing with the best defenders in the game, most of them should be at least Foot Champ certified, but that brings us to a smooth transition to the review. First time in history on the channel, I asked you guys to put your back line so I could rate it. I'm going to give you the top 4, which will be the starting back line, to go with adding extra broken just to give us a little more separation. Davies been burning. Cafu, let's talk. Maicon, I think he's got to be my starting right back. Center backs, I would say, are difficult, but Team of the Year is still holding up. I would go Saliba, Van Dijk leading that back line. I love Kyle Walker as a right back, but the fact that I took Maicon doesn't necessarily leave that available. So we're looking for a left back to close this out. As good as Mendy is, and he's just so reliable. How could you not? Teo's consistency is something you can never take away from him. Roberto Carlos gives you what you asked for. This is tougher than I anticipated. In the meantime, Kyle Walker goes to extra broken. Yapstam's getting pulled up. Masterful Maldini's getting pulled up. I think Militao is too special for me to not have at least an extra broken. Teo deserves it, and this is potentially going to sound a little crazy, but we've got Mendy. I know exactly what I'm buying into, what I've invested into. Even if it's not this SBC, at least some sort of Evo, Mendy has the juice. Could get highly controversial in the comments. Remember, I'm rating your back line. Didn't pay too much attention to FUT Champs and maybe even some of rank 1, but we've got our broken, extra broken, and top 4 divided. Let me know your thoughts, and I have a lot more content coming out ASAP.